The nation's highest court says the president broke the law when he appointed 3 people to the National Labor Relations Board when the Senate was in recess back in 2012. Supreme Court found that the appointments conducted without Senate confirmation were illegal. Justices are now limiting the president's power to fill high-level vacancies with temporary appointments when the Senate and the White House are controlled by different parties. The justices did not eliminate all of the president's recent appointment powers, however, and Justice Scalia said the following: the majority practically bends over backwards to ensure that recess appointments will remain a powerful weapon in the president's arsenal. Is this just legalese, Andrew, or is this substantive?
This is substantive because the Senate, or particularly the House, actually have been having pro forma sessions. Actually, I think it was the Senate, which means they were meeting and saying, "Hi, everybody, how you doing? Let's have the opening thing." Okay, meeting's over. And that's all that they were doing during these recesses to make sure that they weren't out of session for more than 10 days, at which point the president would actually have the constitutional authority to make all of these appointments. So I understand the Supreme Court's decision today. I think it's lousy in terms of an already dysfunctional government, because it's another tool for the minority to stop the president from taking action, or in this case, from dealing with appointments that have to be dealt with at all.
We have a big problem where there's a lot of important positions that are going unfilled right now. Even positions that have nothing to do with politics, or that shouldn't have something to do with politics. I get it. You know, now it's not that he can't do it anymore, but it's got to be a different number of days than it was before. But you're shaking your head at me. But
I'm shocked, absolutely shocked, that this president overstepped his authority. I mean, I just can't believe it. 3 cheers for the Supreme Court.
You know that other presidents have done this too, right?
Yeah, but this is like his MO, so.
But that doesn't matter what other presidents did. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this president.
The Supreme Court was probably correct technically on the law, because this was a highly technical, very limited decision that's trying to be turned into a vast message so they can impeach Obama, which is where this is all heading. The notion of what constitutes a recess appointment is subject to lots of arcane and technical interpretation. I don't think it matters much in the long run, but it does distract away from the fact that it's the Republican minority in the Senate that won't let confirmations take place, even when the appointees have a majority, and that's a bigger dysfunction.
And my point is, it doesn't matter which party is, to me, in the particular White House. I just think when people think about, you know, at HHS, at important agencies, they're going without filling positions. How about the Department of Justice even?
No,
I mean,
the position's being filled but not confirmed, Richard.
I hear you, but at the end of the day, you have seats that need to be filled and they need to be confirmed, and nothing's happening. I get it.
But if you can't get them passed, Richard, then what are you going to do?
Well, you used to have recess appointments that you could use as a cudgel to make the deals happen, but Congress doesn't go on recess anymore.
Put them on. Put these appointments to a vote. If there aren't the votes, move on. But what's happening is the Republican minority is filibustering so that they never are voted on.
I just don't think this is healthy for the process here. All right, but I want to get this second one, which has real-world implications for people sometimes at their most vulnerable state here. And a lot of people say this is a blow to women's reproductive rights. Supreme Court ruled that a 35-foot zone where abortion protests are prohibited outside of clinics has been struck down, this case coming out of Massachusetts. Justices say the zone violates the protesters' First Amendment rights. The head of Planned Parenthood says the decision shows, quote, a troubling disregard for American women. 35 feet, guys. For anybody who doesn't know the metric system, 10 yards? That's too far? That's an infringement on someone's speech for someone going to what's a legally allowed to have a legally allowed procedure done? I mean, is it really a violation of someone's free speech that they have to be closer than 10 yards to a woman that's going to be getting, obviously, a very private and very painful procedure? To me, this one made no sense to me.
Yeah, I do have mixed feelings on this one, because I feel like a lot of them are young women, and it is a very sensitive topic, and you know, your health care should be private, but it is a question of free speech. So I really am torn on this one. I think maybe there should be some sort of buffer, but you can't limit people's free speech either.
they've still allowed protection to make sure that women have access to the clinic. You can't block access. So
Right.
that
Yeah,
protection
which
is
is
still afforded to
critical.
women. But I'm curious, where did the court, and I just forget off the top of my head, where did the court come down on the Fred Phelps group that was protesting soldier funerals? Didn't they order them back a certain?
Other way.
It was the other way.
Look, the problem here isn't the technical and practical consequences,
Right.
which are real as you described. It's the subject matter. If you can do it for this subject matter, why can't you do it to your reporters talking to Chris Christie about Bridgegate? The Constitution does not make a distinction between discussions, arguments, leaflets, conversations, shouting about abortion than it does with respect to other political and social issues. And once you allow it for one social or political issue, you have a hard time not allowing it for all of them.
But how is it a political issue when you're going to a venue to have a medical procedure done? That's different than if you're having a conversation or a debate on a policy
As
issue.
a very pro-choice person, and I want this understood, and who believes that there's got to be some protections here, let me answer that question. The argument is that the person, the pro-life person, the anti-choice person, should be able to say to a human being on her way to the procedure that you have alternatives, and we want to help you understand what those alternatives are.
Why should they have the right to say that?
Because we live in
Why
America.
shouldn't they? It's free speech. I mean, I think
What
Richard
subject
makes a very
matters
good point.
should they not have the right to talk
But
about?
wait,
Right.
but I have a problem with the fact, Richard, a young lady that's made a very personal decision, and she's walking in, and she's being bombarded by people where we have to protect their First Amendment right, and they're trying to get inside your head and twist and turn and do everything that they can to get you to stop from having that procedure. There's just some. What about her First Amendment rights? The woman that's going in.
She can ignore them and walk straight ahead.
Richard, this is an end way around to chip away at choice. And
it's
and
not. No, it's
yes,
not.
it is.
No,
Yes,
it's
it
not,
is.
Dominic.
And some states, Texas, others, they're severely cutting back on, as Richard knows, on the clinics where young women can go to have these procedures done. And so, what are you supposed to do? Drive 400 miles?
Nice
is
segue. Rights in conflict. People have a right to reproductive health care and to choose what reproductive health care they want. That's got to remain constitutional. Other people have a right to say you're wrong.
To stand there and intimidate you and
No.
pressure you as you're walking in to have this
Intimidate?
procedure
No.
done.
Pressure, yes.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
It is indeed.
And also, it's a fine line when you're picking feet, you know? What's 35 feet? What's 50 feet? I understand your point. It just doesn't pass the smell test, but I understand if they limit it here or they make a differentiation here, why can't they do it somewhere else? And also, important programming note, and also important note here in terms of decisions. On Monday, Supreme Court will issue a ruling on whether companies can deny women insurance coverage for birth control. Hobby Lobby, if you remember that, discussed in this program that's going to be coming up this coming Monday, as well as a few other decisions we'll cover on RFL. All right, coming up next, a battle over property taxes, but not of the normal kind. Westchester County Exec Rob Astorino challenging Governor Cuomo to open his door, literally door to his house, or exactly his girlfriend's house, to tax assessors after that girlfriend, celebrity chef Sandra Lee, refused to let them inside. Does the governor have something to hide here, or is Astorino making something out of nothing? We'll talk about this after a break.